Trigger warning, trigger warning. You may be triggered by this topic. It is true crime, which, you know, we do go pretty deep, but we're going to be talking about cremation. We're going to be talking about remains. We're going to be talking about organs and all kinds of stuff. So you're going to have to follow along, weed through, because that's one topic that on YouTube, you know, we're careful about. Deep, but we're going to be talking about. We're very cautious that we abide by community standards and guidelines. So let's talk about Jay Slater. And it was really disturbing when we heard Debbie talk about, Debbie is Jay's mom if you're new, a second repatriation. So repatriation is when the remains are released to be sent back to their original place of home, right? Sent home. So Jay had to be repatriated, hard word for me, twice. Now you could be like, well, it was part of the investigation and so forth. Excuse me? No. DNA samples, autopsy, all that's done before they release the body. So why is this, we'll send the rest later? And we know there's no logical way they were like, we're going to keep Jay's foot, or we're going to keep Jay's hand or his head. No. We know what would be the second part, which would be organs. And why is that being held back? Because they had already closed their investigation. They had already said, the Spaniards, whatever you want to call them, they all made their assumption that Jay died an accidental death of trauma to the head, consistent with a fall. Why didn't they add or a push, right? They didn't want to get it muddy. So then I got to thinking about that. And you know me, I'm true crime. Anytime something's sus, I got to think about what logically could that be. So let's go into this a little bit. It's very interesting, which we're going to be doing a later video, probably next after I'm going to Idaho 4, and then I'll come back to Jay. But in the near future, because we have so much to cover on the Jay case, excuse me, when we look at this idea that Jay was actually found in Masca, okay? All right, fine. So at that point, why couldn't all of him be shipped if it was an accident? Or even if it wasn't. I mean, you've got your samples, you took DNA samples, you have his body, but yet Debbie's not allowed to look at the body because it's so decomposed. And then we find out that the authorities used Jay's fingerprints to identify him with. So how decomposed is he? Right? It doesn't make sense. I don't know about you guys, but in the United States where I'm from, we had, death is always hard to talk about. This was years and years ago, but God rest their soul. We had a wedding party. We were supposed to have a wedding for cousins the next morning. And, you know, bachelorette and bachelor parties all take place before the wedding. All right. This bachelor party was all of the groomsmen and the groom went to party for the night, and then a drunk driver hit them on the way home and killed them all in a horrific fire. It was devastating to our family, to everybody. But do you know what? As badly burned and decomposed as the bodies were, every single one of the families, every single one of the victims' family identified parts of the body, saying that is John, that is Mark, that's Phil, and so forth. And they were all in one vehicle. So I can't understand that. Maybe you're like, well, Deb's the mom, it'd be hard on the mom. Okay, but Warren, the dad of Jay Slater, wanted to see this boy for identification purposes. How do we know? Because he wanted to see Jay's knee or leg, wherever Jay had a known childhood scar. And he was told no. So why would a parent be denied the right, which in the United States would be your right as a parent to say, I'll look anyway. Thanks for the advice, but I want to see the leg and the scar now. And boom, you get it. So I don't get it. It could be that it was a Spanish rule, but then the body got shipped back to the UK. What stops you then? Right? A pathologist? No. The autopsy, the person, the whoever you have open. I'm trying to get my jacket off. It got warm in here. It's a very uncomfortable feeling, I assure you, to identify a body. So how do I know? Because at 6 years old, my mother had to identify my babysitter who had been hit by a car. Happened to be our very best friend on this planet. And she fell down in the road, and the car struck and ran over her head. And my mother had to identify the body of Bobette. And, yeah. So it's not okay that Warren was told no. It's not. And it begs the questions, why wouldn't they want you to see the body? And then I thought, well, if there's parts missing because of this repatriation or whatever, it's quite concerning that the parts that are missing are probably organs. And would it be that the government didn't want to have this deal with organ issues? And could just, as an elderly person, or there's a car accident or just whatever, and somebody's a donor after they die, like a normal accident or normal death or whatever, and that kidney's there, could that just be shipped back on the second repatriation? And me, that's Jay's, because they're not going to be missing it, but they bought the time to fill in the missing pieces legitimately for real. Is that possible? And yes, it's possible. It's possible. When they found Jay, he had very much what appeared to be an autopsy already performed on him. And there could have been body parts missing. So they had to stall for time. Because it's certainly not an investigation. I ain't buying it. They didn't even get to the Airbnb for quite a while. And they certainly were giving up looking for Jay even after 2 weeks. They didn't put a lot of time into this British boy, right? So I don't buy this investigation thing, and I think there's something to this. We've all wondered, could that body that was found in Morocco be Jay? I don't know. The time is so tight, and I highly doubt it. Plus, the body came back. So the question would be then, if they wanted their money so badly that they're blatantly blackmailing Jay's mom, what stops them, if they have the boy, in making damn near 4 times, oh no, it'd be way over that. It could be up to $250,000 or more on the black market. And they have that going on in areas really close to Tenerife, if not in Tenerife. Like, I think it's not that far from there where it's a major transplant place. And you're like, well, they wouldn't have anything to do with that. I'm just saying it happens. I assure you, it happens. So don't give me, it can't happen when it already does, because it do. There are bad guys. Now, it's interesting. I was thinking about, woo, I shook up your world. I'm about to trigger you again. Anita Powell, thank you, lovely. Thank you so very much. Let me switch this over. For the $2.99 snooper chat. Thank you, beautiful. Thank you. And Zaxxon gifted 20 True Crime memberships. Thank you, Zaxxon. Good to see you, my love. Welcome all our beautiful new starlights. Join us on Sunday for TC Radio, which is True Crime Radio. And there's a live chat with all the other members, and it's growing and growing and growing. I think we usually have something like 45 to 111 views. I say 111 because I saw that the other day. So it's a good time. Thank you so much, and good to see you. Hi, Ann Shipton, Katie Crossland, Maria McDonald, Lindsay, Audrey, Electric Paramedic. Hi. And hello to my beautiful moderators, all of you. Stay on your toes. I'm sure today will be busy. Okay, here we go. So I checked into the timing of the Maruba. Let's just get the elephant out of the room. It came back. Okay, let's talk about this. It goes off transponder at the exact time and day that we are thinking, and location. So time, day, and location. It goes off transponder where nobody can track it out at sea, the Maruba boat, at the same time, right after a half hour or less, then Jay leaves the Airbnb allegedly. So if you take that 7 o'clock-ish when that other car shows up, and then an hour later, the Maruba goes off. That could be a pickup, right? Pick up Jay, take him down there. Okay. Now let's say they take him to a location where they can make their money back. And they also double dip because they make their money from extortion and saying you want him back, pay the price, and then hand him back with pieces missing. Now, in order to protect tourism, they can't very well produce the kidneys with the body, right? And the liver with the body if it's not the original pieces, because that's when everybody's going to be looking at this body in the UK. So it's just got to be missing. We got to buy some time, stall till we can get like a 19-year-old that just had an automobile accident that has, donation to science marked on the card or whatever they do over there. And now they can grab that and the other piece and then send it over to the UK. At that point, the child's been buried. The family's laid this to rest. It's probably just going to be transported over and dealt with, and little to be said. Now, the idea that Jay could have been cut by a cactus, could have been a knife. There are cactus knives. We've all heard about that. But I thought about the body itself. So if Jay would have been off his face, I believe the entire scenario works out to be that Jay was spiked. I believe the watch was stolen the previous day by Ahab and Rocky. It's so coincidental that Jay wanted to meet Potter Paper so bad. And then so Jay is seen with Ahab and Rocky. He's even on camera that one time where it looks kind of like Jay. No shirt, he's leaning, Ahab's like that, whatever. And allegedly they're going off to sell the watch. Well, Ahab has many connections, but his favorite connection is Potter Paper. So I wondered, if he stole a watch, would he go visit PP, who collects watches that don't have boxes? You feel me? And would Jay have been the tag-along to meet Potter Paper? Okay. Now, let's say that purchase is made, and then word gets around that the bad guys are looking for the people that stole the watch on Sunday. It gets all over the strip. They now know, everybody's, on high alert because they're asking about the two Molly guys, which somebody may have told them the names, who knows. They're asking about the two Molly guys and the 19-year-old British lad that was seen around here. Okay. Now, at this point, the gig is up. Ahab and Rocky and Lucy, because she works for Potter, in my opinion only. But I do have reason to believe that, but whatever. So, at this point, the watch is gone, right? And Jay's doing nothing but hanging out in the apartment. Hey, Mom. Yeah, I got sunburned. Yeah, we had a good time. Yeah. No, Brad's over there smoking a cigarette out there on the patio or whatever that door is over there. I'm jamming with my music. I'm Jay. I'm in a good mood. Look. Whatever. Okay? And I know he had a watch on in that. Whatever. I'm saying that could have been from Saturday morning when he's wearing the watch, right? Or afternoon, I mean. After the watch got stolen. Maybe he had it for a little bit. Whatever. Safekeeping. All right. So now, before they go to Papagayo's, they're nervous. They're about to get caught up in a big to-do. And so I believe that's why they spike Jay. And so he's off his face. A fight pursues. We have a unidentified witness that claims two Eastern European guys, right, whisked Jay away. I think that he said they weren't black and they weren't white. They were muddy colored. That's his words, not mine. I am not racist. And in that situation, you have to think about Ahab and Rocky. Neither one of them are considered to be very, very dark-toned skinned people. They're kind of like a cocoa brown, right? A lighter color. We even had difficulty identifying if it was Jay or Rocky in the front seat of that car because Rocky is light skinned. Now, I believe that this Saturday, after they sold the watch, it got wind to everybody, including Ahab, Rocky, and the Burley bunch, or whatever they're called, the Bernie bunch. I think they got wind that they were being looked for, hunted, stalked, trying to find who had the watch. So they all left, including Ahab and Rocky and Lucy and Brandon and Brad and Jay, all of them, and LK, 7 at the minimum. I believe the entire lot left their luxury apartments because they were, think about it. Lucy's on the police report as up sleeping in the Airbnb that had no running water in the bath or hot water. This is our hideout. So all of them leave their luxury and head out to the mountains to hide out from this bad gang. And that's on Saturday night, and Jay's there with them, and they're all got drinks because they're celebrating with the Henny that they sold the watch, they got the money, blah, blah, blah. It's a big party, right? We did it, we got away with it kind of thing for Ahab. He's throwing the party. All the kids are like, yay, let's party. That's why Jay's in a good mood. That's why Warren says that's Jay on the thing. And that's why they really are in Masca, and you can hear the cockatoos because that is early Sunday morn. Now Jay leaves, right? Jay leaves. Everybody leaves. They go back to their apartment. They're dancing around. Yep, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Mom, sunburned, okay? And now we go out that night. Shit has hit the fan. Everybody knows that it's going to go down. And so they've got their scapegoat. And they drugged that scapegoat. They, I believe, spike their scapegoat. And I believe Jay is that scapegoat. And so, to me, this entire process doesn't mean that there was anything wrong with Jay's body that would stop them from a healthy heart, healthy liver, healthy kidneys, healthy everything. Because that level of spiking does wear off. So it's 7:30-ish in the morning. Ophelia. I'm here with two men, and I don't have an adult son. They're pushing a wheelbarrow, and this one's got his shirt up over his belly. Is at the door with a wheelbarrow. Jay's out of it. Remember, he's off his face. He ain't on his phone. He ain't smoking cigarettes at the door. He's out of it for a reason. There he is. Look, here's the picture on his phone. He's the one that took the watch. That's me out of it. Boom. Jay's gone. Right? Off to the Maruba to be taken to wherever locally that they do this kind of thing. Because I'm sure they got it figured out. Now, the GoFundMe gets withdrawn. According to everything that we've seen, the first withdrawal was around, estimated to be 10 days after it was started. And that is exactly when the Maruba returned for a very short time frame and started hovering around the edge of Tenerife. And I believe they were waiting on their payment, the drop, right? The drop. And in all this, they then are going to come back with the remainder of Jay. They're going to leave him missing parts at a place that he will be found. But how are you going to find Jay? They've been looking for him. They've given up. There's very little part left of Masca. You've got to have an innie. You've got to have somebody that's a potato head. I've discussed this. And I'm thinking that Crispy is the potato head. You got the go-between, the infiltrator, right? The facilitator. That's Lucky in my opinion. He's working for the bad guy, pretending to work for the family, pretending to help the family. The go-between, so that they can get the body found and resolve it all. Now, when the government does get the body back, they're like, crap. It's missing some pieces. We got a problem. We're going to be all over the news. This is national news. This kid is missing by now on the 29th of June. Everybody and their brother, we're already losing tourists. And here's the deal. We're going to have to fix this. So we're just going to stall for time. And we'll send pieces later. And we'll tell them it's a second repatriation because of an investigation. It doesn't make sense. If they can identify him by his fingerprints, then why can't the family see him? That does not make sense. I call sus as fudge. Fudge. Christmas fudge. Sus. Hi, Sharon Greenhorn. Hi, Prime Candy. Welcome back. Ocean Deep says they were all waiting for it to kick off. That sick man, in my opinion. And what better weekend? The game is going. Everybody's paying attention to the game. You have a little TikToker up on the side of the mountain. Who cares? We'll drop it at night. And we'll make damn sure that these two are able to tip off the Guardia avocados. So weird how the Coast Guard allegedly alerted them on the weekend game day that Jay had already been found, the Coast Guard. And then I thought about all the transponder crap with the boat and everything. Was it leaked by Lugster to the Coast Guard where the body was? Like an anonymous tip to the Coast Guard after it was dropped? I don't know, you tell me, because Chris Pennington, never being a searcher before, could guarantee that Jay was a bag of bones well before he was found, and that he was in this location on the mountain. He knew exactly the condition of the body, and he knew exactly where the body was. And you cannot, by elimination, pinpoint exactly where that body is. Now remember, Chris P was the one that said We've got to get the Guardia back on land and looking for Jay where we know he is. Leave that right there. We've got to get the Guardia Civil back on land where we know where Jay is. Ditzy Lovely, it doesn't matter his last state. He could have been drunk off his butt. He could have been on cocaine, ketamaya. He could have been on all kinds of stuff. I assure you, they flush the system before they do that anyway. So it don't matter how he looked last time. Doesn't affect it. I'm in the medical field. I don't do transfusions. I don't do transplants. I don't do any of that. But I'm very aware of what patients go through before they donate as well as before they receive. Yes, and that ravine that Jay is found in is one of the fewest. And I'm talking, it's a very selective choices here, where it connects from the beach all the way to that part. There's only a few little places on that whole side of the mountain that the mountain's not a sheer drop-off face. It actually has a beach. And I have never heard of such a tall, skinny kid being on cat and cocaine and all this shit and being so damn hungry in my entire life. If you listen to CP, this kid was starving, even though the kid had a kebab. No, you ain't hungry if you taking that stuff. You ain't gonna be eating nothing, and you sure the hell aren't looking for your next bite to eat by going through the mountains to the ocean. It ain't there. There are towns on either side of Alaska. Worst comes to worst, you don't like the crap that's being served in Alaska at the little cafes. You could have went and got the food anywhere else. Sorry, I choked on my own spit. Electric paramedic says, in your opinion, he was on pink. It don't matter. They flushed the system. They could have had him flushed for 2 weeks or a month, and then, or not a month, but 2 weeks. They could have flushed his system for 2 weeks and kept him in a coma state while they flushed his body. Are you kidding me? And so what? They say they found all this stuff and all this kind of stuff. They could have had that tox reports done at an earlier date to see what he had in him at the bad place. And then maybe that was the paperwork found with him. I know it's a reach. I'm just saying, I just don't buy that they wouldn't take the organs and stuff because the kid took a couple drugs. I don't buy it. And nobody knows that he was on pink. Maybe they do. I don't know. That's right. It's like you guys are talking as if Jay went to a normal hospital. I am talking illegal operations is what I believe. If you feel me, we're talking, grab him and stealing him and taking him to illegal places. Yeah, he's not got a history of drug addiction. They would definitely consider his organs viable. Well, we might learn more in the inquest, or we might absolutely learn nothing more. I'm telling you. Yes, Mariah, the body young recuperates after that very easily. That's true. Where were the birds that the locals said would have been circling the body? Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Exactly. I have zero trust in the coroner. I mean, think about it. The head of the Guardia Civil was arrested for human trafficking of exactly what I'm talking about. I'm in like that mood today. I am no nonsense. The head of the Guardia people, rescue people, the guy in charge of Jay missing, trying to find him, is arrested for human trafficking. Here comes a truth train. So don't give me your crap about how this couldn't happen, because it damn sure could have. I'm not saying it did. I'm saying it's absolutely possible. Why 2 repatriations? Why? There is no reason for it. Zero. Why couldn't they see the bodies, mom or dad? Even the leg to see the knee if it had a scar? Nope. Why? Why? There's a reason. I wouldn't I wouldn't trust any of them. Not only was the head dude arrested, the big guy, the head, the lead, the guy in charge of finding Jay for human trafficking, he disappeared in a place where the mayor is disgraced. We're not talking legal, y'all. You can take the red pill or you can take the blue pill. I'm just telling you the truth. Wake up. Wake up. That is exactly right, Mariah. They have the top transplant hospitals in the world of Spain. Hey, Jody Sinclair, you say they reported on Tuesday it would take until the following week to identify, then was identified by the fingerprint the same day. When the head of the organization in charge of finding Jay's body is arrested for human trafficking, and Jay's body was missing parts, maybe, could that be why it led to the connection in him getting busted? We never found out what really got him busted. Was the investigation into Jay and they were like, dude, where are the parts to the body? This looks fresh. Somehow they got him on human trafficking. So if it's true, that, in which it's a fact, it's in the paper, that the main guy that's in charge of finding Jay is arrested for that specifically, then I don't need a tinfoil hat, because there was no reason for a second repatriation unless it's a stall to come up with parts, replacement parts. I mean, I bring the truth. That's all I'm here to do. Now, I'm not saying anything I'm saying is fact. I'm speculating. This is all, in my opinion, I'm asking questions. But we have to keep it real. And that'd be enough to scare the Christmas fudge out of you when you're told your son has to come back in 2 body bags. Are you feeling me? You might be looking at Zach, your other son, being like, well, I'm going to keep my mouth shut on this and just keep going, because there's no way in hell that my son should be coming back in a body bag, let alone 2. Not if things are on the up and up. And you guys over there in Spain just arrested the guy that was looking for my son for human trafficking. And now you're telling me you can't give me all my body parts? I can't lay my son in a Christian burial with his organs? Because what? You're not doing an investigation. If you were, you'd be going by the autopsy and the DNA samples you already took. Because you sure the hell don't need to hold on to the organs after you've already collected samples. This is why there's times when I have to step away from true crime. Because when I walk this walk and think about what Warren and Debbie really have been put through, I can't imagine the anger, the pain, but I bet you they damn sure will always have a question. Especially Warren, why he was told no, you can't look at the body, it's too decomposed. But yet, they knew it was his son by his fingerprints. I don't buy that. Nina Malone, that is shocking. I never knew it was 2 body bags. I'm using that as a way to explain it. So when they transport any biological hazardous material like that, they could put it in a body bag, right? I just grabbed that up thin air because it's 2 repatriations. So it doesn't have to be 2 body bags. I'm just saying that so that you get it. It's 2 different shipments. Like in my religion, you need your organs with you. It needs to be all one. Spiritually, I don't want my heart over in Spain and the rest of me in the US. No, that's not okay. You might as well not even lay me to rest till you have my heart. Okay? That's right, Jolly J. I don't know how it works, but I would have said, I would have been like, Zach, go get me a crowbar out of the car. We're popping this. Yep. I'd have knocked that rose right off the top of it. And I'd have cracked that sucker open right then and there. There had been no stopping me. You would have had to arrest me to stop me. I promise you. Right, Claire? 2 different parts. And has the second repatriation ever happened? We never got confirmation. Are they still waiting 10 months later for it? And if they did get them, were those new, the second part, the second repatriation, was it DNA tested? And I'm talking every piece and every part to make sure it was Jay. Or did they grab some rugged up nobody that's sleeping on the sidewalk and pull the same thing, but his body parts weren't fit for you know what, transfer. And so they used those to replace Jay's, and that be why he had so much shit in his system. I'm just asking questions. Hey, Karen Bell. William C. Medical toxicologists generally consider individuals dying from drug intoxication as a potential organ donor. So, a person taking the OD line of COKE, etc. on a bender be fine. Thank you, lovely. That was exactly my point. Yeah, Jennifer's got a great point. I don't know how decomposed a next of kin has the right to view the remains. I agree with you. Exactly, Ocean Deep. A homeless guy on rugs. Right? Like the guy, the Ahab, an example would be the guy, the Ahab, all of a sudden was filming, being like, take the water, drink the water, here, have some water. The guy couldn't sit up, he was ODing. Nobody gonna miss him. Interesting, huh? Hey, Red Sauce. You said what confuses me is the fact is that they could have taken samples instead of keeping the parts. They still had to repatriate. They don't need the whole organs. Exactly. And that's why I'm doing the video. So, I wanted to talk about this a little bit too. Somebody has to have a fast boat to get that person to that location. And then when the deal is done and it's time to, the deal is done and the bill's been paid, your boy owes me a lot of money, somebody has to be the facilitator to oblige returning the body. And they probably had to use a fast boat. And the Maruba comes back in the area quite close to the time, just before the Jay was found. So it goes off transponder on the time, the date, and location that Jay's at when he goes missing. Then the first initial ensuit, the very first time that the GoFundMe has a large sum withdrawn is around the 10-day period. That's right, 10, 11 days is right when the Maruba reappears. Okay, all right. And then right before Jay's found, the Marubas are back again? Nay. Yeah. To quote Mr. Cool Saul, which I thoroughly do support you, sir. Yeah. Adult Bert Strand says it has been mentioned at all for a very long while. It hasn't been mentioned at all for a very long while. Kelly says the organs have to be with the BODY, but I don't know why they go missing in other countries. Yeah, but afterwards they don't. Not after they pulled the organs. Then they can discard. It is difficult, Zoe. I've dreaded this day. But it's been the last 2 weeks this has been in my heart. And I could be grocery shopping and it'll enter my head. And I think of what Jay went through and what possibly Jay went through in this scenario and this theory. And I'm like, ugh, it's so possible. And if the lead investigator looking for Jay had not been arrested for human trafficking, I could probably have thrown this to the wind and let go of it. But now I can't. I absolutely can't. Because there's no reason for the second part. It's a stall tactic because they didn't have the parts in the beginning, in my opinion. And they're going to wait until some kid like the one that AM's feeding water to, and then that's their parts, their replacement parts, and phew, it's over with, right? It's not easy to talk about. Sam R. says the Guardia who have done for trafficking would know it's Jay and would say he wasn't found, but they had the body already. And there's a lot of people don't believe that that body was ever in the location that they say they had found him in. That actually Coast Guard found him. There are people that say that the Coast Guard was the one that found Jay and turned the body over, and that he'd be dumped at sea near Tenerife, and that he was recovered in a horrible condition. And that could be that after they got what they wanted out of Jay and the money got paid, that they just were like, okay, he's near Tenerife. We did what we said and released the body. It'll wash up on shore. The family will find it. We're good to go. That's what I'm asking 2K. Kay says, even though organs sent back, are they JS? Is there a way to tell? DNA test. Rachel, not that Rach Higgy says, ladies and gents, please don't forget to show Mama D your love and appreciation by smashing the like button. Thank you muchly. Love yas. Love you. Thank you. The Alchemist says, all I know is when British crews were willing to find him, he was suddenly found. That is 1,000% true, Red Sauce. You get a gold star. You get a gold star. We got to pin it. We got to pin it. You get an A+ for the day, Red Sauce. Let's pin it to win it. Are you seeing it? Right up here. There's no proof that the helicopter lifted a body out of that ravine because they used stock footage. Why would you use stock footage? Not like you're going to be seeing an arm dangling outside of the BODY bag. No reason to do that. I'm just saying, it's quite alarming to really think of this. Yep. And that could be why the facilitator is working so incredibly hard, because that's a lot to risk being found out. And that's a lot of money. Like if you peace out, if you feel me, a human, we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of buco bucks dinero. Big money. $500,000 here and there. Hey, Viv, good to see you. You say he still would have seen a dentist whether he hated them or not. How would she know if he didn't like the dentist if he had never seen one? I was looking at a walker that's going down. That David guy's phone pinged an all four ravine. Who? David who? I sound like an owl. Hey, Andy Vinson, surely he was checked on arrival back into UK before funeral. Yeah, it was his body, I'm sure. I'm sure it was his body. But I'm not so sure that he would have been checked. I don't know. I would have thought so, right? But even if he's checked and he has all these incisions from the organs being removed, they're saying they kept the organs for for investigations. So yeah, the body looks exactly like it would, but it also looks exactly like, there's missing pieces. So it don't matter. The guy they found missing. Oh, interesting. The one that said he wasn't missing didn't need help, but did seem to need help. That's right. It was stock footage of a helicopter. I promise you 1,000%. You have never seen Jay Slater's helicopter lifting his remains out. Didn't happen. I mean, not footage of it. Did not happen. No footage. It could have happened, but there's no footage. When I say it didn't happen, I mean they didn't film it. Look, I'm doing the old-fashioned filming. They did not film the footage. That's crazy funny. Can you tell I played charades when I was a kid? Yeah. Well, David Larkin. Yeah, he said he wasn't missing and didn't need saving. That's weird. Claire Wade says, please look at the photo of Jay, Brandon, Lucy. Jay's right hand and arm is swollen. They all picked on by his so-called the whole time. So why wouldn't they let the family see him? That's what I want to know, Andy. I agree. I would love to know the answer. Audrey says CP never takes a pic or a video of the removal after him being the hero. Why didn't he get thanked as the hero by the family? Why didn't Luggy get a personal thank you by the family? Jodine Sinclair says, The Alchemist, yeah, that's one evil island. We're undercover so much. We uncovered so much. Yeah. All right, my lovelies, it is time for Mama to get off here. I have went way over, but I wanted to hear your thoughts too. And hold on a minute. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate the support in staying on the Jay Slater case. Wonderful shout out to Duncan Smith, Mark Smith, Jan's Views, World Entertainment News, Noble, and hats off to Wax Unfiltered. Thanks again for the shout out again. And I see you're going to be covering a theory of mine. We will all be watching with great support. We love you, and we've got all your backs. We will get to the truth as a united group effort. We will. And it's all because of you, the viewer, the ones that are pushing us forward, inspiring the creators, and the information you're sharing with us is consistently getting us to the truth for Jay Slater. So stay tuned. As Wax would say, plenty more to come. I love you so much. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again very, very soon. Love you to the moon and back.